Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. So in today's video we're going to talk about the new earth and the new time energy, and thus why I call the mastery work that I do new earth mastery. So every mastery and enlightenment practice up until now has been born out of the old time on earth. Has been born out of this time on earth where the kind of overall goal in being on any kind of spiritual journey, any kind of path of awakening, has been to realize your true nature as a spiritual being, as not really of earth, not this body, and then to kind of reside in that space permanently from then on, pretty much. Is to reside in this space of unification with the truth, with source, with your higher self. And for a lot of people that meant kind of leaving their daily lives. So you have this very strong kind of path of the renunciate who leaves their life and goes to live in an ashram or a cave or in the woods. Or you have people that, like the yogis, like the difference between Swami and yogi. So the yogis would stay in their everyday lives, but perhaps, they wouldn't have sex anymore, or, there would be a lot of detachment still from their physical life, even though their bodies were still engaged with the act of eating and, going about their daily duties. And that path of spiritual awakening was very important in the time that we've come out of, because so few people were doing it. So like the vast majority of society were so embedded in ego, in illusion, in the density of materiality, that it took those very few individuals to very extremely come into their enlightened state in order for there to be any kind of balance whatsoever. So it was like a necessary compensatory response to bring those very few individuals completely out, so that there were people on this earth who were kind of, lighthouses for the truth. But in the time that we've come into now, there is a much greater balance. Spirituality has, to a certain extent, in many parts of the world, become more mainstream. And so there are people that are, that are living much more balanced lives. So they are very much in this world, but they have also had awakening experiences. They've seen the truth. They are identified with their higher self and their spirit. And so the energies have evened out. And then, of course, there is this new paradigm thing happening on the planet, which is a part of that. And a lot of people can get a little bit funny about this and think that it's quite new age. So, a lot of people that are just into that very pure enlightenment stuff, or the traditions that came out of the East, find all the new paradigm consciousness shift stuff all very new agey. And to be honest, there is probably a lot of new age nonsense around it, because there will always be people on this earth which are quite unbalanced and looking for escape. And they will take something which has truth in it, and they will run into it in this very unbalanced way and become a little bit weird and wonderful and give something a bad reputation. But the idea of there being a new paradigm is not a new age concept. It's a concept that came out of pretty much every ancient civilization on this planet. So we're talking about people that lived in ancient times on this planet, that lived in an incredibly pure way, that was completely connected to nature, that were totally grounded, that were completely pure in their consciousness. and who were scattered all around the earth, and yet they all shared the same story, have the same story to teach, with similarities about their origins and about this new time, about this new era on earth, the marker of which was 2012. So to call the new paradigm just New Age nonsense is pretty much like calling all the ancient civilizations on this earth nonsense. And the most notable kind of civilization that spoke, or at least the most well-known, that spoke about this new time were the Mayans. And they spoke specifically about the dissolving of the mental body. They spoke about the unification of heaven and earth, of the Venus energy, and so forth. And the dates that they provided and the descriptions of these changes in consciousness very much, if not exactly, match the descriptions that have been given by Annie Senov, who was the founder of Aura Transformation, who talks about the indigo and crystal children on Earth. So those dates perfectly match, like when the waveforms of Quetzalcoatl re-enter the planet, and when the full Mayan return comes back to the planet. Those dates match when the indigo children were first born, and when the full crystal energy returned to Earth. So I'm not going to go into that too much right now, but I just want to give an overview of the fact that there are these new energies on the planet, and that they are not just some kind of New Age concept. They were spoken about, they were predicted by civilizations that were around on the planet, like hundreds of thousands of years ago even. And one of the ways that we can look at what that new Earth energy is about is through a term that I use a lot, which is about embodiment. So the Mayans talked about this uniting of heaven and earth. And Annie Senov, who's the founder of Aura Transformation, also talks about this merging, that the purpose of the new energy fields that the children now have, and which you can acquire through an Aura Transformation, is this merging of the spirit and the body, so that your spirit and your body fuses together. The purpose of that on a greater level is of spirit merging with the densest layers of our planet to raise the vibration of that. And so as that is happening on the planet right now, this is what's really, really defining this new time on Earth and what we call the fifth dimensional energy. It is the raising of vibration of this third dimensional matter. And the kind of platform energy that creates in terms of our consciousness potential is more of like a fire energy. So whereas before the earth was the earth, and it was like a very kind of, there was like a very dense energy here, where things took a very, very long time to materialize, and people weren't able to fully operate from the heart in some ways and make their kind of purpose or their wilder dreams happen, because we had to very much just think about survival. But the potentials that are now available, and this is something that Annie Senov teaches as well in terms of like a different platform energy on the earth, is this greater fire energy. So it's about, because spirit is more present here, because the vibration has raised, it means that you can start operating from this place of your truth, of your heart, of what your purpose is, of what really brings you joy and inspiration. So there is this greater opportunity for your spirit becoming more embodied, so that your spirit is actually more here, but there's also this solid grounding that comes through with that. There's this greater power. And there's this greater creative potentiality for what you want to bring about in your life. So that's a little bit about why it's called New Earth Mastery. So to some, it's New Earth Mastery because it's not simply about reaching these potentials in consciousness and then becoming detached from the earth. It's about reaching potentials in consciousness which you then fully embody in a really enlivening way, in a really balancing, grounding way, in a powerful way, so that you can then start to actualize the life around you that you want to be living. It's not at all about sacrificing anything. It is about you really living your dreams. It is about you living from that fiery place of joy and manifestation and creating beauty around you. Thank you for listening.